Well, welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. The first thing we have to talk about is our great country, the United States of America. The U.S. men's national team played just last night against Turkey. Now, despite my patriotic current state right now, Bronwyn, they did lose last night. It was unfortunate, but I think we have to talk about the fact that they sat 8 of their starters, and that makes the game very, very, very different. Before we get into everything about how it happened, I kind of want to get your thoughts on the call to sit everybody last night. I mean, they've already qualified for the round of 32. Do you agree with the decision?
I always go back and forth with this kind of thing. It kind of takes me back to the whole, I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs either last season or the season before, where they just elected to not play a couple of games to save their guys. Yeah. And in my heart of hearts, the sportswoman in me says, no, you have to play those games. You got to play your guys or it's not true sportsmanship. So that part of me, I get both sides. I understand saving your guys, saving legs, and getting some other guys some experience in a World Cup. I mean, 8 players made their first World Cup starts last night, and the coach even talked about it. He was like, well, now we have, minutes of experience, and we got some legs that have played in World Cup, so our bench can go deeper. But the other side of it is, it's kind of, it's like the sportsmanship aspect of do you really want to just kind of give this game up, which they ended up doing. It was a late goal there, but they did end up doing that. So for me personally, I say always go 110%, play your starters no matter what. But I understand the other side of it. It's just the fan part of me that I go, why? Why did we do that? And we lost. And it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like the team has gotten so much good press and PR, and it's just everybody's so excited, and we're like, this is the best. And then the honeymoon phase kind of ends last night. So that's my next question. This was, their back line's been known to give up goals. This was the first time they'd kept a clean sheet. Well, actually shut out against Australia, rather. It was the first time they kept a clean sheet since almost a year ago against Japan. And so my question to you is this the end of the honeymoon phase? Are we out of it? Are we back into this, it's the U.S. men's national team, where we're like, we've expected them to do so well in the past couple games, and they have, but the normal expectation is, up and down, up and down. So my question is, are we done with the honeymoon phase?
I 100% don't think we're done with the honeymoon phase. I've grown up watching a lot of soccer in my life, and this team that we've put together here in the United States is unlike anything I've seen in a really long time. And I think last night was a really tough thing to kind of answer that question based upon, because we didn't have our guys in there, right? They've been working on this team chemistry between those 11 guys that you put out on the field, and 9 of them weren't out there last night, or 8 or 9 of them weren't out there last night. And I don't think we could really base anything about the future of this team based off of last night's game alone. I do think you can look at the Paraguay and the Australia games and think, wow, we've got a heck of our team on our hands right now representing our country, and they are going to be facing Bosnia and Herzegovina this Wednesday in the round of 32, and that is what I'm really looking forward to seeing, Bronwyn. I think seeing them in those high-pressure situations where they win and they're in, they lose and they're out. That's it. They have no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and Bosnia and Herzegovina is in the exact same position. So no, I don't think we're out of the honeymoon phase yet. I actually think that this could be one of the most impressive runs that the United States of America could make, and if we're going way ahead of ourselves here, we could face England on the 4th of July. I mean, come on. How epic would that be? There's so much to look forward to with this tournament, Bronwyn, but I guess, what are your thoughts? I got to dish the question right back out to you. Do you think that the honeymoon phase is over?
As I've said before, and as I even told our Charleston Battery coach a couple of weeks ago, I said, I'm a soccer rookie. This is my first season actually covering any kind of soccer. So I'm kind of brand new into all of this, and it's been really exciting to almost get to be that rookie alongside of everybody else in America that we don't really talk about soccer that much, but we do when it's a World Cup. So for me, I mean, you made great points. You sit 9 of your guys, 8 or 9, not the starters. I don't know. I mean, they've played up and down, and I think consistency can be an issue. And I think, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the honeymoon phase is over. The nice part of me wants to say, of course not. The other part of me, I always like to err on the side of caution because what goes up must come down. I always get a little scared, especially in a knockout round. I do love the knockout rounds. I totally agree. I don't want any of this, hey, we can just give up a game. It's no big deal. No, I want to see put everything on the line, especially we're playing the week of July 4th. I feel like we have to win. And let's talk about, we have to talk about your face paint, okay? Tell the crowd, tell the fans, where did this happen? I don't think it was done in the newsroom, probably.
It actually was done in the newsroom, and since we're talking about it, I have to throw my friend Caroline Soro into the mix here. So our Palmetto sports team did do a promo for the Fox coverage of the World Cup that we've been doing. Look how great Caroline Soro looked today. I was only halfway there. She went all the way in, and that's the type of energy that we need heading into this game for the United States of America versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. If they can pull it off, it'll be the first win in the knockout stages that the U.S. has ever had since 2002. How great would that be? Me and Caroline are clearly feeling our spirits about it. But yeah, we did a promo, and we'll have some really, really talented acting that's going to hit your screen here pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. But right now, we're going to take a break from Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. Wouldn't have been fun if I had my other half of my face painted in that short commercial break. That would have been fabulous. We're going to switch from soccer to basketball. Just a stunning couple of days in Charlotte. LaMelo Ball going to the Timberwolves in that big trade. And then they re-signed Kobe White to a 3-year, $74 million deal. Over the past 3 seasons, he's averaged 19.1 points, 4.6 assists, 3.9 rebounds a game. And now with LaMelo out, he's kind of projected to take on a starting role that he hasn't had. We talked about a little bit about LaMelo Ball, right? And he did average the fewest minutes of his career last season in Charlotte. And so they pivot, they trade high while he kind of had one of the best seasons in his career last season. But even then, he was still just among the league's 20-point scorers last season. Only Dylan Brooks had an actual worse true shooting percentage than LaMelo Ball. So they kind of go to now Kobe White in this big deal. 3 years, $74 million. Oh, boy. I mean, it's just, I don't know a whole lot about the Charlotte Hornets. But one thing I do know is that when you've had such a successful season like they did last season, and then you start to just kind of switch it up like this, my question, Ella, is why? Like, they were kind of moving in the right direction after a couple of years of moving in the wrong direction, and then they kind of now switch everything up. I want to get your insight. Why do you think that this, I mean, really a shocker in Charlotte? Everybody, I even saw videos of people being so upset about LaMelo Ball leaving, and they're like, he was our guy, that's our guy. Now he's gone. Kobe White signs this deal. What's your insight?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was on the fence about this one for a while. I was texting Caroline a lot yesterday about this entire thing going down. I think it's hard if you're a Hornets fan looking at this situation and seeing you finally kind of felt like you had a franchise player or the face of the franchise, if you will, with LaMelo Ball. But in reality, this guy's been injured for 5 years straight, essentially. He played his most amount of minutes this past season. He finally kind of had his shining star moment. So to me, from a management perspective, I'm thinking the Hornets looked at this and said, we can sell high and think long-term with LaMelo Ball. And I think that is what they did. Kobe White, on the other hand, is coming in as a very young player with a lot of opportunity. We saw him shine at the end of last season. He came in halfway through the season last year and came in like a shining star in the moment in their first play-in game, their first chance to make it to the playoffs in a decade. This guy hits a 3 with seconds remaining to tie up the game, to take the win. it was amazing against the Heat. He stepped up right when he needed to. And so, in my opinion, this guy's got a lot of potential. I'm excited to see what he can do. And I guess it can be definitely scary as a Hornets fan to face this a little bit of unknown territory when you thought you had your guy. But I think there should be a lot of optimism when it comes to this trade. And I will be curious to kind of see how things continue to unfold and who will take that starting role for them. But we also have some stuff going on in collegiate basketball for Clemson women's basketball. We got the chance to chat with some of the gals and head coach Sean Poppy this past week and kind of got an inside look into some things going on behind the scenes with the NCAA and one of their great players from last season, their top scorer, had tons of accolades to her name, Mia Moore. You guys all remember that heartbreaking way they lost the season to USC. She had that game winner and then they called it back. They went to OT and then they ended up losing. But Mia Moore was a huge leader for this team and now she's fighting for a 6th year of eligibility. She was just over the threshold of time by 2 minutes, Bronwyn. That is incredibly painful, but we got the chance to talk with the players and Coach Poppy about missing Mia Moore and how she made a return to practice this past Tuesday. Here's what they had to say.
Yes, it's really cool. It's every time I see Mia, Demara, or I call her Grandpa, but if I see them, I even get out of the drill, I go hug them because, I don't know, they just bring me a feeling like of home because last year they made me feel like here, like home, so I don't know, it's really nice. And I think for them too, seeing that people are coming back to Clemson, where it's middle of nowhere kinda, it's not like, you know, Atlanta or a big city, so for them coming back and staying on campus, you know, it's really nice and coming hanging out with us.
I mean, obviously our hopes are an appeal goes through, and in the meantime, that's what she's doing. She worked out earlier this morning, and she just wants to be around this group as much as she can, whether she gets it or not. I think that Clemson's become home to her forever, and so she's going to support us if she's not on the court, with the hopes of, you know, you win an appeal and she has a chance to compete with this group. You know, again, I think it's just back to culture. This is not just what are you going to do in the next 32 games? All right, we're with you forever. All right, it's a family, and that's how we support Mia, and I know Mia supports us in the same way.
Well, that's something they really preach over there at Clemson. I mean, you look at Rusney Augustineta, who was just talking there in that clip, and what they did for her, bringing her mom in. Mia had a huge part in that, and I know not having Mia on that squad next year would definitely be a tough one for them, but something that they are expecting. I mean, Bronwyn, I just kind of want to hear your thoughts. You hear just minutes shy of that cutoff. Just what are your thoughts on that? If I were the NCAA, I mean, I don't even know how I would handle something like that when it's that close, but you hear about it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is probably they may not want to set a precedent, because at what point is 2 minutes the cutoff? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10? Then you have to, it's more, which as we all know, they have lots of rules and regulations to try to figure out with everything, but it's just kind of like, do you set that precedent of, well, what's the time threshold that you can be over? And do we even want to set that precedent of even mere minutes over? Me personally, I think I would, you know, if I'm leading the NCAA, I'd be like, yeah, sure, 2 minutes, that's not a big deal. But I think part of it is probably they don't want to set that precedent. And I love that she's still there. They don't even know. She's kind of hanging in limbo, and the whole team's kind of hanging in limbo, but as he said, that culture is keeping her there. She wants to be there. She's still working out with the team. And I love when coaches preach this. I love when it shows in the success of a team, where you see how well Clemson did last year. With that culture, he keeps harping on that's part of the reason he feels they succeeded. And now he said, you know, this is now the standard to go to the NCAA tournament and to keep getting better. But I think when you have that bedrock of that culture of a kid that doesn't even know if she's going to be there next year, literally hanging in limbo, and she's still doing workouts and still hanging out with the team. I love that. I think it's, I don't know. I think the NCAA has a lot to figure out, especially with, 2 minutes, Ella, that's sad. That's crazy. So we'll see, I guess. We'll see. We'll see.
That we will, and we will also see you after this break. We're going to take a break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. See you in a bit.
to Palmetto Sports Daily. Well, the Stingrays have their guy officially introducing Jesse Kalecki as the 14th head coach in franchise history. Something for Stingrays fans. I need everyone to take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. He is a former Florida Everblades assistant coach. I know. But we have to be able to beat the Everblades if we want that elusive Kelly Cup, right? So he got introduced today. He even talked a little bit about how he's tied to the Everblades, and he really feels like in order for the Stingrays, he and Rob Kincannon, both the president, both feel that in order for him to move forward and for the team to move forward to that Kelly Cup, they got to go through one team. Let's hear who it is.
If we're being honest, we need to build a team that can beat the Florida Everblades. They've won 4 of the last 5 championships, and if you want to win a championship, you got to get out of your division. So we need to build a team that we feel like first and foremost can win the South Division. And then if you're able to win the South, it opens some doors for you to a conference championship and then to a Kelly Cup. But if you can't win your division, it's irrelevant. So our mindset is going to be looking to improve on the strengths of the team and then touch on some areas where we feel like maybe we can get a little better in this division.
And a couple of those areas he mentioned, as we all know, the Florida Everblades come in. They are big, they are physical, and a lot of their guys are kind of franchise guys. They've been there forever. He said when they're recruiting this summer, that's what they're going to be looking for. Physicality, grit, size, but also something he mentioned, he feels that while the Stingrays do lead in penalties, that doesn't always mean physicality. That actually means, as we all know, undisciplined. He said something they're going to hone in on is getting discipline. That's part of the reason Florida is so good at what they do. They really are disciplined in every aspect of the game. If we want that Kelly Cup, I should stop saying we. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I love the Stingrays. But if they want the Kelly Cup, they got to go through the Florida Everblades. Yikes, it's tough. But I'm excited to see. I think Jesse Kalecki's going to do a great job. He's really, really good at developing players, recruiting players. He was the former head coach of the Fort Wayne Comets and recently just led them to, I believe, the first place in the Central Division and then led them to the Western Conference Finals. And then finally, we're going to talk a little baseball here. Carl Mendoza, the New York Mets manager, former Charleston Riverdog manager, fired. They had one of the worst finishes, well, not finishes, it's the team's last place start. He was the manager of the Charleston Riverdogs in 2012 before becoming a defensive instructor in the Yankees organization. And this is the first time the Mets have replaced a manager in season since May 2008. 2019, he went to the bench coach for the Yankees. And as of today, the Mets are 34-47. That's only better than 2 other teams, the Rockies and the Giants. Ella, I mean, anybody that loses a coach in season is going to struggle, but especially when you're seeing kind of this fumbling, bumbling type of season, sometimes the deal's got to be done.
Yeah, and this definitely seems like a situation where the deal needed to be done. It's going to disrupt the club. Of course, it's going to be a little bit of a tough ending to the season, I have to presume. I mean, we got a firsthand look at that with the Gamecocks this past season with all of the movement going on there for coaching situations. But I do think given just the record alone, this was the right decision for the Mets. But, I mean, am I making this up, Ronman, that you lived in New York at some point in your life? Is that right?
You're making it up. You are making it up.
I'm thinking of I'm thinking of Jill. I'm thinking of Jill, and I was going to ask for your personal take on the matter, but I guess you probably have a little bit of a different type of bias when it comes to this hire.
Yeah, a little bit. I think, like you said, South Carolina kind of went through this whole spiel. Now, obviously, they have their new guy, but it was a struggle for them at the end of the season. I think you're right. I think we can presume the Mets are gonna struggle. They're gonna struggle. 39-47. Not great right now. Not great. All right, we're gonna take a quick break before we wrap up this edition of Palmetto Sports Daily.
Well, welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. Given the estate of myself, it's only fitting to continue to talk about the U.S. men's national team and their grind to break history. And they are on the right track despite this previous loss to Turkey. I hold my ground. I think that this is the best that this team can do. But Bronwyn, give me your predictions. I mean, we're heading into the knockout stages here pretty soon. How far realistically do you think this team can make it?
Should I just go really hot take and just make everyone mad? Maybe they don't even get past this week.
Hold on 1 second.
Just a mic
You don't
drop.
think they're going to
I'm
make
just
it past
pulling
this
that out
week?
of nowhere. I'm just
Whoa.
pulling it out of nowhere. You never know in sports. You never know. We have been defeated on July 4th before.
So
but,
tell me about why, what
you know.
gives you the lack of hope against Bosnia and Herzegovina?
I feel that when you have something as beautiful as we've had the past couple games and it's kind of out of nowhere, I feel there is a designated time for that to run its course. I start to wonder if it's now. I don't know if it's this game or if it's we win this game in the next game, but in my bones, I feel that our time in this beautiful honeymoon of soccer, I feel like it's running its course.
If there's one thing about me, it's red, white, and blue. These colors do shine over here. And I have all the hope and the faith in the world in the U.S. men's national team this year. They are going to make it back to the semifinals for the first time since 1930, and it's going down this year. We're winning it all,
Hot takes,
but that's
hot
going to do
takes,
it. That's
hot takes.
my hot take on Palmetto Sports Daily. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend.